It's not every day in Destiny that we see a exotic come out of the absolute depths of the bottom of exotics and come into play and see a lot of strength and utility, but that is just the case with the newly buffed with Season of the Deep's launch, Vesper of Radius. Before, this exotic was incredibly mids and not usable at all, but with the changes that allow our rifts to now create an arc shockwave every 5 seconds that deal 200 damage in PvE and 70 in PvP, this thing is very, very strong, and honestly it's a lifesaver in some situations and allows you to do a lot of work in GMs and other endgame content. Anytime you get a defeated enemy with these shockwaves, they're going to explode for an additional 100 damage, and if you're on the arc subclass, those shockwaves and explosives will also blind nearby enemies, making this an incredible tool to have in your arsenal. Another great thing about this is that you could still get those arc shockwaves even when you're on something like a solar Warlock with Well, which is what I used in the Devil's Lair GM, and it did a lot of work with it. Now, you won't get that blinding effect that's so nice with the Arc subclass. However, it is still a solid choice even on Solar Warlock. But we're going to be making this build mainly around Arc because that is what you see the most utility from. And wasting no time, let's hop right into the subclass here, starting with Chaos Reach for the super. Then we're going to go with Healing Rift, Ball or Chain Lightning, whichever one suits your fancy. And then we're going to go with Pulse Grenade. Our aspects are going to be Electrostatic Mind as well as the Arc Soul. In our fragment slots here, we're going to go with Spark of Feedback so we can increase our melee damage when we take melee damage. Then we're going to go with Spark of Brilliance, so anytime we defeat a blinded target with the precision damage, it's going to create a blinding explosion, further building into that blinding explosion build. And then we're going to use Spark of Shock, so our arc grenades are going to jolt enemies, and then we're going to increase the duration of our arc grenades with Spark of Magnitude. This is going to be a very fun Rift Explosion, blinding explosion, just explosion everything kind of build, and it's a ton of fun to use. For stats, I would recommend going with 100 Resilience for that nice 30% damage reduction. Then we're going to go with Recovery for faster Rift recharge, and then Discipline for faster grenade recharge. In our artifact here in the second column, make sure you pick up authorized mods Arc as well as Melee, so all of those kind of mods that correspond to either Melee or Arc will cost 1. In the third column, go for Amped Up so we stay amplified longer, as well as Thunderous Retort, so anytime we cast our super while critically wounded or amplified, it's gonna do more damage. In the fourth column here, pick up Electric Armor so you gain more damage resistance while you're amplified. And then the fifth column, pick up Shock and Awe so we can summon a burst of lightning that damages and jolts targets while we're amplified, as well as lightning strikes twice, so anytime we throw an arc grenade, we're gonna gain increased grenade recharge for a short duration, and final blows with arc weapons will extend that duration. When it comes to weapons, there are a few that really see the light of day with this build, and the first one in our kinetic slot is going to be none other than Riptide with Chill Clip. This thing is fantastic for any kind of content, and it allows you to stun both Unstop and Overload champions with Freeze Shatter as well as just slowing. In the energy slot here, we have two exotics that you could go for. The first one and the main one being Cold Heart, which allows us to generate more ionic traces the longer we deal damage to enemies, as well as getting stronger the longer we shoot it. And then you could also use Risk Runner if there's a lot of arc damage coming your way, just allowing you to take full advantage of Arc Conductor and allowing us to get more arc resistance. In the heavy slot, you have a few different options here. I like to go with either the Hothead, Storm Chaser, some sort of arc machine gun, or the Wendigo grenade launcher. My main two go-tos though are definitely going to be the Hothead and Storm Chaser, as linears and rockets are the top two for DPS in the game for the heavy slot, so definitely go with one of those. Sliding on over here to our armor mods. On our helmet, we're going to start with Dynamo, Arc Siphon, and then Powerful Friends. On the gauntlets here, all of these mods are disabled at this point in time, so I don't know, just throw whatever you want on there. But when they're not disabled, Momentum Transfer, Impact Induction, and Bolstering Detonation are the move here. On our chest piece, go with Resistance mods for whatever most incoming damage is going to be. So if you're doing a GM with a lot of arc damage like the Devil's Lair, triple arc resistance is nice, or Ghost of the Deep Dungeon, for example. On our boots here, triple arc weapon surge so we can get the most out of our arc weapons here. Definitely want to get that so we can utilize our armor charges. And then finally on the class item, Reaper, Bomber, and Powerful Attraction. I honestly love using this build. It's a ton of fun to use, and it's honestly super strong, and I really like to use this on Solar Warlock. While I'm not going to see the most benefit from the blinding explosions, I still like to use this so I can get periodic damage while sitting in my well to enemies around me. For example, if like the Thralls are running at you or something, this is a great choice. Just pop your well, then pop your rift, and you're going to be dealing damage to those around you while you do some damage to a boss, for example, like in the Devil's Lair GM. I used this exact build on Solar, and it did a ton of work, especially with Risk Runner, allowing me to do a ton of damage while taking like no damage from anything that was arc damage related. If you guys enjoyed this build, be sure to try it for yourself. Let me know what you think down below. I appreciate you guys making it to the end of the video, and make sure to drop a free like and subscription to the channel. It's obviously free, duh, and it helps me out as a creator. If you guys want to see some more of my content, I got short form content over on TikTok, and I live stream both on Kick and Twitch, with Kick being Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Twitch being Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all at 7 p.m. unless I state otherwise. Again, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.